Hello engineers and welcome back to Marek Roaster's Dev Diary for August the 14th. Now if you don't know much about the Dev Diaries, this is where Marek goes into detail of what's going on behind the scenes at Keen Software House. Exciting information about Space Engineers 1 and Space Engineers 2, but remember, sometimes these are thoughts, these are things that are work in progress, so it might not all happen, but it's a great way of finding some insight. Marek starts by discussing Space Engineers 2 construction stages and construction particles. He explains that they are coming together nicely. The VS2 Planets and Survival update is one of those features that really makes the game feel alive, watching a block grow step by step with sparks and dust flying out as you weld it into existence. It's still work in progress, but you can already imagine how much more immersive survival will feel once this is in your hands. Marek then goes on to talk about Virger, one of the planets in Space Engineers 2. Virger's landscapes is also constantly improving, Marek says. This version we have now is almost unrecognizable compared to what it looked like just 6 months ago. Terrain shapes, colors, vegetation density, all of it has been improved on again and again. Every time I load into Virger, I notice something new. A ridgeline that feels more natural, a valley that catches the morning light just right, or a forest that feels alive instead of just placed. It's amazing to watch a planet go from a rough concept to something that feels like a real place you could explore and call home. And here is the planet Virger with its amazing cloud formations and the glowing sunset lines as seen from space. Marek also comments on how the reactor destruction particles are shaping up nicely. Marek then moves on to talk about the VS3 Water update. Most of the SE2 team is currently focused on VS2 Planets and Survival, but a small group of our team is already deep into VS3 Water, which we aim to release a few months after VS2, fingers crossed. I want to share a little bit about how planning works in our team. Before we start work on any update, we create a high-level vision document. This outlines the goals for the update, the key performance indicators, KPIs such as target retention, meaningful play time, and session length, the audience we want to reach. Marek then goes on to explain, for VS2 the focus is on players who enjoy real gameplay challenges and rewards, while also being clear internally whether we're designing primarily for SE1 veterans or also bringing in new mainstream players. Marek then continues on explaining for VS3 Water our KPIs is to introduce a completely new medium, water, that opens new gameplay possibilities in engineering, exploration and mining, along with fresh challenges and rewards. Once the vision is set, we break down the required tasks for each discipline. Designers, documentation, level design, gameplay, tuning. Programmers, gameplay features, engine changes, art, new blocks, particles, animations, environmental assets, sound, new audio effects, underwater sound behavior. Marek then explains how the process works. Each team lead estimates the man days needed for their task. This often triggers back and forth discussions to clarify the scope and cut low value work, so we invest time in high impact features. Things that are fun, novel, essential, or improve performance. We then check if we have the manpower to meet the deadlines and lock the plan. The VS2 project plan has been locked in for about 9 months, with only small additions 2 months ago, such as the colonization map, colonization progress, contracts and encounters, to extend the meaningful gameplay beyond the first few minutes and give players long-term goals. Marek then goes on to explain the VS3 plan was recently updated and is now being finalized. Much of the water team's work was scoped long ago, but we refined the details and adding tasks for other teams. Here's an example of some of the tasks. Swimming animations, submarines fully sealed against water both visually and physically, Biblios, a new water-rich planet, pressure simulation at certain depths, new blocks, pumps, ballast tanks, turbines, etc., water audio, splashes, underwater muffling, walking in water, water-specific missions, ore distribution in aquatic environments, buoyancy and boat movement on the surface, water system optimizations to ensure good performance. Marek then continues on with more exciting news, explaining we're also adding non-water features to make VS3 even more exciting. While water itself is a huge addition, a completely new environment to interact with, we're also working on survival improvements, production system, oxygen, block wrappers and area welding, new welders and grinder blocks, weather effects and more. I actually can't share everything because we are working on the plan as we speak. Now that brings us to the end of Marek Ross's dev diary for August the 14th, but he does have an important disclaimer that I'm going to read to you. Marek says, the above is just a snapshot of my current thinking, not a promise. Plans can change right up until release, and I share this to keep communication open, not to sell you on something in advance. And remember, if you want more information about Space Engineers 1 development, Space Engineers 2 development, or everything in between going on at Keen Software House, subscribe to our newsletter, where you can receive a lot of the information early. In addition to that, just how excited are you for getting your hands on planets in Space Engineers 2?